Today we're going to be talking about how to dominate a geographical farm, right? How to dominate a geographical farm. Now, the thing with a geographical farm can be as productive, as amazing as your past clients and influence database, right? So let's first and foremost write down a measuring stick. Like, what should we accomplish from a geographical farm, right? So the first thing I want you to write down when it comes to a geographical farm is understanding what you should be getting from it, right? And I would say that the first year of working a geographical farm, we want to be getting the 10% business from that area. If in a calendar year, that area has 100 transactions that's happening, we should be getting at least 10 deals from that. Okay. After the second year of working a geographical farm, you should be getting 20% of the business, right? So if that geographical farm is doing 100 transactions a year, you should be getting 20 transactions from that geographical farm, right? So now that we understand what we're aiming for, let's look at how do we dominate a geographical farm. So top of your page, I want you to write down dominating a geographical farm. And that comes down to consistent marketing, lead generation, follow-up, conversions. These are all key to the growth and success of a geographical farm. So let's look at it. What is a geographical farm? What is that? Right? In short, it's simply the marketing and developing your business and relationship within a neighborhood or a multiple neighborhoods, right? It could even be a high-rise building that can be considered a geographical farm. So to effectively work a geographical farm, right, it is to put you up there and in front of everyone so that they know that you are the agent of choice, right? And the key elements, there's two main elements to working a successful farm. Number one, it's consistent contact. See, the homeowners must hear from you. They must see you. They must be receiving something from you on a regular basis because you need to be recognizable in that area. You need to be the expert in that area. And number two is you need to bring value. Your knowledge, your expertise are valuable, but you can become an area go-to expert by consistently bringing information and services to that homeowner. What is the value you bring to that homeowner, right? So those are the two main elements when working a farm successfully. It's consistent of contact and it's bringing value, okay? So when we look at it is how do we choose the right farm area? And there's a lot of things to this, right? You may picture the perfect farm area in your mind, right? You know, and the goal here now is to say, hey, is this farm area the right one? Am I choosing the right farm area? So the first thing when choosing the farm area, I want you to write this down, is, you know, what is your track record or relationship in that area? Right? It's always best to start in an area where you've had some sales, where you already know a few of the homeowners in that area. Maybe you live in that area, right? This would be a great start to looking at that farm area. It's not the end all, but it is a start. Right? So take a look at it, right? Consider uploading your database, perhaps your past clients and influence database into, let's say, GeoMaps and get a clear picture of which communities, which areas you have an established track record. So if you take your past clients, put them into Google Maps and see what areas you've been selling in, right? The second piece to choosing a great area is going to be the size. Okay, determine how many properties you can effectively and consistently manage in relation to the amount of marketing and, of course, dollars that you're going to be spending in that marketplace, right? Starting out with 500 to 1,000 properties is great. That would be a great start, right? Having a farm area that has a building or maybe two buildings, that would be an amazing start, right? So looking at the size of the farm area. Right. The third thing when it comes to selecting a farm area is what's the competition like? Is there a dominant agent in that area? right? Is there a clear-cut, obvious choice in that area already, right? And when we look at for a dominant agent in the area, would be someone that's taking, let's say, 30% of the market share. Because then when you have an agent that's dominant in a specific neighborhood, it's an uphill battle for you. If you're brand new to that area, you're really fighting for the 70% of the business that's out there versus the whole 100%. So that should factor in deciding whether to go into that particular geographical farm, is who is in the competition there. Okay. Next I wrote down is accessibility, right? We want to avoid selecting any farm area that are strict, that there are some strict bylaws, and maybe it's a gated community, right? And you can't go door knock or be part of that, right? If you have, some sort of restriction that you have access to that particular geographical farm, you may want to consider not to do that, right? Next is preference. Do you actually like the neighborhood that you're going to be working in? Right, that geographical farm, right? That needs to be that's personal. This is you being part of that community. Is that a community that you want to be working on? Right. I've known, some agents, and especially here in the Greater Toronto area, there are pockets in which, they're very cultured, right? I would love to work in a community called Markham, but that is a very Chinese-oriented community, and they speak Mandarin or they speak Cantonese, and I don't speak either one of them. So I'm not going to be the right choice, the right fit to be in that community, right? So looking at preference, looking at accessibility, looking at competition, the size, and of course the track record. But you know what? The number one reason for choosing a geographical farm is the turnover rate. Okay, this is expensive. When you start venturing down a geographical farm, this is expensive. When you start looking at the marketing plan to work a geographical farm, we want to make sure that the turnover rate is there to be profitable. So a healthy geographical farm has a turnover rate greater than 6%. So if I'm selecting 1,000 homes in this marketplace, in that marketplace, those 1,000 homes in the last 12 months, how many homes sold in that area? So for it to be a 6% on 1,000 homes, that means 60 homes have come up for sale and sold. That would be the 6% turnover. So we need 60 plus homes, right? Now, I would say that because of the pandemic, and you're vesting into your geographical farm, and this is not just a one-timer, it's not going to be just for 1 year or 2 years. This is your investment in this. I would take a look at the 2019 numbers. What happened in this particular marketplace from January 1st, 2019 to December 31st, 2019. And I'm picking 2019 because it's a boring year. Nothing happened in 2019. It was actually a very boring year. There was no pandemic, no war. It is a boring year. And when you do that, it gives you a better clarity on what's happening in this particular marketplace, right? Just so you know that you are investing in the right geographical farm. So as you know, to selecting and choosing the right farm area, you look at your track record, you look at the size, you look at the competition, accessibility, preference, and you look at the turnover rate, right? So now that we have our farm area, what's the next step? What do we do next? So the first one is before you even begin the farm area, it's important that you develop a strong online presence, because everyone in that farm area will Google you or Bing you, do a search on Bing or on YouTube. They will try and find you and find out who you are. So it's extremely important that we start to develop certain characteristics online. Like number one is having landing pages. A home evaluation landing page is key. Having a page where people can come out there and take a look at it and say, oh, okay. So they're going to Google you. And I would highly recommend that a page that you use using a video, having some sort of video would be key, because they get to see you, right? And putting a face to the name, putting a face to the paperwork that's coming out, the postcards, the phone calls, whatever it is. So having something like this would be key, right? Home evaluation, a video of yourself talking, and then a landing page. Now, we're not going to end on just having one landing page, a home evaluation landing pages. We are going to multi-purpose any sort of postcards that you may send out. But the first things first is we need a home evaluation landing page. Next, we need to set up all your social media online profiles. Make sure that that's all working. Your website, your realtor.ca or .com, your Google My Business page, you know, even Yelp or Bing or Facebook or Instagram or LinkedIn or Nextdoor or Zillow or Trillia, all those different social media profiles that are out there, right? Where are you at with that? Is there consistency? Can people look you up on different mediums because you don't know which medium people prefer to use, right? The next thing I would say is you need to have some knowledge of the community, the history of the community. You need to understand what's happening in the master plan, the development of that community, what's going to be coming in, what schools are in there, how many homes are in that community, what active listings are there, what pending sales are happening. You really need to understand your geographical farm, that whole farm area. So that would be the first thing before you actually start the marketing. So let's jump into the marketing, okay? This is the marketing. So number one, write this down. When it comes to marketing a geographical farm, is we want to send out a postcard, something of value to everyone in your geo farm, those 500 to 1,000, whatever it is, every 10 days. That's right, 10 days for the first 6 months. After 6 months, we're sending them a postcard every 2 weeks, every 14 days for life. Okay, for as long as you have this geo farm, right? Not when you feel like it, not when what's going on, you send it for life. You know, clients of ours who during the pandemic decided to stop sending these suckers out during the pandemic. It was a huge mistake. Those agents that continued to send them out, even during the pandemic, and just kind of changed the message, right? They put it in some different kind of community messages, almost became like a piece of, you know, information being sent to their house. And they really took over and started to take market share from other agents that stopped. So we never stop sending out postcards. Very important, right? Now, when you look at what's the sort of content idea you should have on these postcards, well, the first thing I would say is the one side should be your colors, your picture, information about you. I would have a QR code that would take them to a general page on your website about you. So it's all about you. And this page, this side never changes. It stays the same. Maybe once a year you update your picture. But for the most part, it's consistency. It's the same graphic on the one side. The other side is the call to action side, right? This call to action side can be anything from, hey, just listed, just sold, price reduction, open house. It can be a case study. It could be community information. I love the community information. I think that's brilliant. You know, when do the kids start baseball? When are the tryouts for basketball? When are the things happening in the community? Hey, what events do the community have going on, right? That you can publish on this. You become a community billboard in essence. Right? Love that kind of information. And I even love it better if you put in a QR code that takes it to a landing page, right? Let's say you sold a property in that neighborhood. Instead of saying just sold, why don't you tell us about the case study that happened? What did you really do to get this property sold? Right? And you would create your own kind of landing page with a case study. Hey, we just sold 123 Primrose Lane. This is what we did. This is what happened. If you'd like to get more insight on how we did it, get a free guide on how we did this for them, right? Show a case study. That is brilliant. So sending this out is key, but it's not the end all. Okay, next, I want you to write this down. Number 3. We need to call and or door knock that entire geographical farm 3 times a year. People need to see you. So make sure that the geographical farm that you set up is manageable, that you can get out there, right? Have it in your schedule where you can go meet with people, right? Where you're going to go door knock. Now, the reason we say call or door knock, calling without question is the easiest. And you could use technology like slide broadcast to put out that message, which I would use. But unfortunately, in today's marketplace, most homes don't have landlines. Most homes, everyone's switching over to cell phones. And getting people's cell phone numbers is a little bit more difficult. So even though you have 500 people in your geo farm, you might only have like 100 phone numbers, to be honest, right? So that's why we put in the door knocking. Go door knock. It is what it is, right? Get out there. Next we wrote down is creating lifestyle and community videos for that area. You know, at least once or twice a month, put out something regarding the neighborhood. You can interview, for example, the principals of the schools. And the beauty about that is any video you create can be a postcard afterwards. You can make that into a postcard, right? So interview, for example, the principals in the schools in the area. Interview maybe the counselor for the area, the mayor, if you know the mayor, that'd be amazing, right? Interview, you know, important people in that community. Right? Maybe just talk about bakeries or restaurants or your favorite things in that area. And then the last thing I wrote down, and this is a fun one to do, is remember, this is your geographical farm. So if another agent lists a home in your geographical farm, it's like, how dare them? Like, really? Don't they realize it's your farm area? So what I want you to do is every time a brand new listing pops up in your marketplace, in your farm area, is go over and preview that home. Drop off your business card and then grab like maybe 10 or 20 copies of the listing and simply go talk to the neighbors about that home, right? Be out there, have that excuse to go see the people, right? So that is the plan of action to working a geographical farm. Does anyone have any questions, concerns, any hallucinations? No, you're all good. All right. So if that's the case, please unmute yourselves. Please unmute yourselves. All right. I'm curious. What day is it today?
Money making day.
That's right. It's a money making day. So what do you have to do in your business today to help you move the needle? You guys are awesome. I'll talk to all of you tomorrow. Thanks so much.